Ruby the Rainbow Witch. Meet the Amber Fairies by Kim Ann. Ruby the Rainbow Witch was having fun fixing the flowers in front of her not-so-haunted house. With just 2 weeks until the fall festival, Ruby wanted her garden and trees to look totally terrific. But as Ruby walked to the back of her not-so-haunted house, she saw candy scattered all around. Her gingerbread tree was missing its gumdrops. Her peppermint tree had spaces where the swirly-whirly mints used to be. The ribbon candy was unravelled. Her donut tree had lost all its sparkly rainbow sprinkles, and the colourful candy tree had bare branches. "Oh no!" cried Ruby. "What should I do?" Ruby remembered that her fairy friends were fabulous at caring for trees. "I must find the Amber Fairies and ask them for their help," said Ruby. The Amber Fairies, Addie and Annie, regularly visited Ruby's garden through the fairy door in the donut tree. Ruby kneeled and knocked on the door, but there was no answer. She knocked again. Still nothing. "I wonder where they could be," said Ruby. "The Amber Fairies always take such good care of my garden. Something must be very wrong." Ruby heard a loud hum. What was that? She wondered. She heard it again. Sitting on top of a stack of cinnamon sticks were the Amber Fairies, Addie and Annie. The humming sound was coming from them. They were trying to fly. "Hi, Addie. Hi, Annie," said Ruby. "Have you seen the trees in my garden?" "Hello, Ruby," said the fairies. "Yes, sadly we are out of fairy dust," said Addie. "We can no longer fly or care for the trees," said Annie. Ruby picked up the fairies and placed them on top of her picture-perfect rainbow hat. The three of them walked over to the trees, where Ruby put the fairies on the ground. "Maybe I can help you," said Ruby. With a whirl and a twirl of her rainbow dress and a wave of her swirly-whirly wand, poof! Fairy dust began to fall. Addie and Annie were so happy. As soon as the fairy dust touched their wings, they were able to fly, flutter and twinkle again. The Amber Fairies started sprinkling the falling fairy dust over the candy trees, and the trees began to sparkle and shine. The gingerbread tree started growing new gumdrops. The peppermint tree sprouted swirly-whirly mints. The ribbon candy tree began to swirl and twirl itself back together. The rainbow sprinkles returned to the donut tree, and the last candy tree began to sprout candy again. All that was left was for Ruby to make sure her fairy friends were taken care of too. Ruby had an idea. With a whirl and a twirl of her rainbow dress and a wave of her swirly-whirly wand, poof! The Amber Fairies now had their very own picture-perfect fairy dust fountain. "You will never run out of fairy dust again," said Ruby. "Oh, Ruby, you have made this the most picture-perfect fairy dusty day," said Annie. "Let's get back to work," said Addie. "The candy trees must be cleaned up in time for the fall festival." The next day, Ruby returned to check on her garden. She spotted something special. Sitting outside the fairy door was a teeny tiny glittery gift with a giant red ribbon. The Amber Fairies had left it for Ruby. Inside was a small amber stone and a note that said, "To Ruby the Rainbow Witch, from Addie and Annie." Ruby thought about how wonderful it was to help her Amber Fairy friends. Helping others is a sure way to make a picture-perfect rainbow day. The end. We hope that you loved Ruby the Rainbow Witch, Meet the Amber Fairies by Kim Ann. Buy the book and read along. And don't forget to check out more exciting stories by the same author.